Tonight's episode opens with a whisper turning into a roar. A new clip, allegedly filmed from a balcony, racing across group chats and late-night timelines, that appears to show Charlie Kirk's private security moving around the plaza in those frantic first moments. Some viewers say they're wiping surfaces. Others claim they're scooping up metal glints from the ground. What's real? What's rumor? We can't confirm, yet. And that's exactly why the internet is on fire. Fans are shocked, critics are gloating, and emotions ran high the second this leak hit feeds. The family was left divided by what people are saying online, with friends begging everyone to wait for facts while strangers swear they've already solved the case. Was it standard scene control or something darker? Reports are flying in, angles are popping up, and the timeline keeps getting messier the more people freeze frame it. Tonight we're not declaring what happened. We're breaking down what people believe happened, the claims that won't stop spreading, and the tiny background details that viewers insist change everything. If the online chatter is even half right, this isn't just another viral clip. It's the start of the most dramatic, high-stakes unraveling of the year. Buckle up. The footage starts quietly, almost too quietly, the kind of silence that hums before chaos. A shaky camera zooms in from a balcony across the plaza, the crowd frozen in disbelief. And there, in the middle of it all, lies Charlie Kirk. Two men in black jackets marked only by faint white patches move fast, quicker than anyone else on the scene. One kneels beside Kirk's body while the other sweeps his hand across the ground, collecting something that glints under the lights. It could be shell casings, it could be debris, no one really knows. All we see are motions that don't match the panic around them. People shout. Some are crying. And yet these two are calm, precise, like they've done this before. One bystander's voice trembles on the video saying, "Why are they cleaning? Shouldn't they wait for police?" That question echoes across every corner of the internet hours later. And just like that, a theory is born. One that splits timelines, friendships, even families. By morning, hashtags are trending everywhere. Clips from the video play on loop with filters, zooms, and red circles highlighting the security men's every move. Online commentators turn it into a digital autopsy, frame by frame. Some say they're preserving evidence. Others insist they're erasing it. Emotions ran high as talk shows debate what the footage could mean. Kirk's supporters flood comment sections with prayers and fury, while his critics warn against conspiracy. The family stays silent, releasing only a brief message asking for respect and privacy. But silence never stops speculation. In fact, it makes it worse. By lunchtime, influencers are already spinning stories about secret files, hidden drives, and coded hand gestures. One rumor claims the men were communicating through subtle signals. Another says they were collecting something valuable left behind. No one can prove anything. But in this storm, proof doesn't matter. Perception does. Behind the camera, the witness who filmed it tells friends he can't sleep. He didn't mean to cause this. He just uploaded the video to a small encrypted forum because he thought it should be seen, not realizing it would explode across the world within hours. People begin calling him a hero and a liar in equal measure. His phone won't stop buzzing. His social accounts are hacked, and soon journalists show up at his door. Everyone wants to know what he saw before the camera started rolling. Did he notice those men earlier? Was someone guiding them? His only answer is a trembling voice saying, "They looked like they knew exactly where to go." That single line fuels another fire. Talk show hosts replay it with dramatic music. Commentators analyze his tone, and podcasters claim it's the quote that exposes everything. Inside the Kirk family's circle, tension builds. Close friends whisper about betrayal, about people leaking footage that should have been private. One of Kirk's longtime colleagues breaks down during a live broadcast, saying she can't believe how fast compassion turned into spectacle. "This isn't justice," she cries. "This is entertainment." Yet entertainment is exactly what the internet demands. News outlets that once reported facts now chase clicks, running headlines with question marks to dodge accountability. Was Kirk's team hiding something? Did they clean the scene too soon? And every question, no matter how baseless, keeps the story alive. Within days, What began as grief turns into a gladiator show of opinions. A security analyst interviewed on a late-night podcast tries to calm the frenzy, saying the actions might be procedural. Sometimes private teams clear the area to prevent further chaos. But then someone digs up an archived image of a similar event months ago, showing the same firm working another rally. In that old photo, one of the men from the new footage appears in the background, staring into the camera. People zoom in, draw red arrows, overlay dramatic captions, and claim it's proof of a pattern. Fans who adored Kirk demand answers from his organization. The official channels issue statements that sound rehearsed, corporate, and cold. One of them reads, "Our team acted in accordance with safety protocols." Those words ignite more outrage than relief. Viewers don't want safety. They want a villain, and they're ready to find one. Meanwhile, journalists stationed outside the investigation site report whispers of an internal review. Sources speaking anonymously mention missing evidence bags, conflicting timestamps, and inconsistencies in the witness list. None of it is confirmed, but the whispers travel faster than any fact check ever could. Every outlet wants to own the next revelation, even if it's built on half-truths. In living rooms across the country, families argue over dinner. Some insist the video shows nothing sinister, while others slam the table and say, "Open your eyes, it's right there." Friendships fracture over belief. Siblings stop talking, and the nation's collective anxiety tightens like a noose. Inside the Kirk household, the atmosphere is different. Friends describe sleepless nights, drawn curtains, and an eerie stillness. One insider claims Kirk's mother stopped watching the news altogether, saying she can't bear to see strangers dissect her son's last moments like a movie trailer. His father, meanwhile, reportedly meets with advisors late into the night, trying to regain control of a story that's no longer his. Public sympathy begins to curdle into suspicion, as every gesture from the family is reinterpreted. If they cry, they're hiding something. If they stay composed, they're cold. If they speak, they're rehearsed. The world has turned into a stage, and grief has become performance. Across social media, one clip dominates everything. The moment the two men exchange a subtle glance before walking out of frame. Online detectives loop it endlessly, arguing about its meaning. "That's a signal," one user insists. "No, it's nothing," another retorts. Debates stretch deep into the night. Live streamers build entire shows around analyzing body language, pulling in millions of views. Someone creates a slowed-down version with ominous background music, calling it the cleaner's code. Overnight, the narrative shifts from tragedy to mystery. The people once mourning Kirk are now investigating him, questioning the very fabric of the event. And that's the cruel irony of the modern age. Facts fade, stories stay. The truth becomes whatever sounds most cinematic. Somewhere between the outrage and obsession, a new twist surfaces. A journalist claims to have obtained exclusive access to another angle of the footage. In this supposed version, the cleaners are seen picking up something shiny. A device, maybe a drive, maybe nothing at all. But that small detail reignites the frenzy, even though no one outside the newsroom has seen the full clip. Its description spreads like wildfire. Talk shows run with it. Influencers dramatize it, and hashtags multiply again. Suddenly, the question isn't just why they cleaned, it's what they took. Theories blossom like weeds. Secret communications, donor data, classified information. Every new idea adds another layer to the drama. And in the noise, empathy vanishes. People forget there was a human being at the center of it all. What remains is spectacle, addictive and unending, where every viewer becomes both detective and judge, searching not for truth, but for the next thrill. The frenzy doesn't fade with time. It mutates. By the second week, every social feed is infected with the same 30 seconds of grainy video, dissected in every possible way. One influencer pauses it at the exact frame where one of the security men bends down, his hand gloved, his expression unreadable. She overlays slow music, adds subtitles and whispers, "Look closely. He's not just collecting evidence, he's collecting secrets." The clip hits 10 million views overnight. Fans flood the comments with wild guesses, some insisting the men were taking Kirk's personal device, others saying it was proof of a political hit. Emotions ran high as theories splintered into tribes. One group believed Kirk's team was covering for someone powerful. Another swore they were protecting something sacred. Nobody could agree, but everyone felt certain. And that certainty was intoxicating. By now, late-night shows turn the tragedy into primetime spectacle. Dramatic voiceovers, dimmed lights, and replayed slow motion make it feel like an episode of a crime series rather than real life. The phrase crime scene cleaning becomes a meme, flashing across t-shirts, podcasts, even music remixes. One commentator smirks on air saying, "In America, even grief comes with a hashtag." Meanwhile, Kirk's colleagues appear on interviews looking worn out, eyes heavy, voices trembling as they beg the public to stop spreading misinformation. One of them, a longtime friend named Andrew, breaks down mid-sentence whispering, "You're tearing him apart even after he's gone." That clip goes viral too, stitched into montages that twist his words into new meanings. Online, truth is no longer sacred, it's raw material. Then a new twist emerges. An independent outlet releases screenshots claiming to show the security company's contract missing from official state records. "They weren't even supposed to be there," the reporter says dramatically. Social media explodes again. People flood forums asking, "Who hired them? And why isn't there paperwork?" Memes appear showing disappearing logos, vanished websites, and dramatic captions reading, "Deleted overnight." What's missing in the discussion is verification. None of it is confirmed, but the timing feels too perfect to ignore. One user comments, "It's like the universe wants us to find the truth." Another replies, "Or someone wants us to think we have." Amid the chaos, a woman steps forward claiming she was near the scene and saw something strange. She appears on a live stream, visibly nervous, saying she watched one of the men remove a small metallic item from the ground before waving at someone off camera. Her video goes viral in minutes. Analysts freeze the footage, zoom in on her face, on her hands, searching for lies that might not exist. She's invited to morning talk shows, grilled about every detail. And within days, she's both celebrated and destroyed. People call her brave and delusional in the same breath. Paparazzi camp outside her house, and she later deletes her accounts entirely. Her story, however, doesn't vanish. It becomes fuel. Inside Kirk's organization, panic brews quietly. An insider leaks that they've hired a private PR firm to manage the fallout, yet even that decision becomes a headline. Damage control? The media asks. One anonymous team member tells a reporter that the family feels betrayed by everyone, even some within their own circle. Apparently, a trusted aide has been accused of leaking internal security logs to online forums. A heated argument erupts during a private meeting, where one voice shouts, "You sold him out for clicks." The transcript leaks within hours, painting the team as fractured and paranoid. Supporters online begin choosing sides between the loyal and the opportunists. This is no longer an investigation. It's a soap opera played out in real time. Then comes the drone footage. A college student releases an aerial video she claims she recorded on the day of the shooting. In it, the same two men can be seen walking behind the auditorium minutes before the chaos. Their direction contradicts the official police timeline. "They said they stayed," she insists during an interview, "but they didn't." Networks run the footage on repeat, dramatizing every second with slow zooms and flashing circles. Experts are brought in to debate authenticity. One says the video metadata checks out. Another argues it could be edited. Neither position matters. What matters is the debate itself, because controversy feeds attention. Viewers stay glued, whispering that the truth is too dangerous to be told. And when the local police issue a short statement calling it a misunderstanding, the internet laughs it off. "Of course they'd say that," one host sneers. "That's what they always say." At the same time, emotional stories begin flooding timelines. Fans talk about their grief, sharing how Kirk's speeches inspired them, how they felt betrayed by how his memory is being twisted. One emotional post reads, He taught us to question everything. Now everyone's questioning him. The irony isn't lost on anyone. Even Kirk's opponents expressed discomfort at how the tragedy has become entertainment. One journalist remarked softly during a segment, "It's not about sides anymore, it's about spectacle." Yet spectacle wins every time. Influencers film reaction videos crying into their cameras. Conspiracy channels churn out thumbnails of glowing red circles. And ordinary people who once barely followed politics now argue over radio frequencies and timestamps. And just when it seems like the storm can't get any louder, another leak appears. A single still frame showing one of the security men entering what looks like a government building weeks before the incident. The photo isn't clear, but that doesn't stop people from deciding what it means. "He was planted," one tweet claims. "He was being protected," says another. Debates ignite again, louder, messier, more emotional than before. The phrase "inside job" returns to trending lists, accompanied by dramatic montages of grainy screenshots and ominous music. Across the nation, people huddle over screens, trying to connect dots that may not even exist. Families fight at dinner tables. Old friends block each other online. And the country sinks deeper into the endless fog of maybe through it all. Kirk's family remains silent, their grief twisted into mystery. A single statement leaks from a close confidant who says, "They're not hiding the truth. They're trying to survive it." But in this world, survival looks like guilt, and silence sounds like confession. The more they retreat, the louder the speculation grows. And somewhere in the background, behind all the noise, those two men in black jackets remain the ghosts at the center of it all. Seen by everyone, understood by no one. Their every movement magnified until nothing feels real anymore. The storm had already consumed everything. News, politics, and even personal lives. But by the third week, it evolved into something darker. People no longer watched the footage just to find answers. They watched it to feel something. Anger, fear, purpose. It didn't matter which. The world had turned into a jury without a judge. And the case of Charlie Kirk's security had become the courtroom of the internet. Every new theory was treated like revelation. Every denial like proof of guilt. One night, a trending clip showed a group of online investigators arguing live for 3 hours over a blurry reflection in the SUV's hood. One claimed it was the shape of a third person crouching nearby. Another swore it was just glare. Millions tuned in anyway. Views were the new evidence, and virality, the new verdict. Then, out of nowhere, a journalist posted what she claimed was an official memo leaked from within the investigation. The memo described a recovered digital storage device collected by private security before police arrived. That one sentence detonated like a bomb. Fans screamed vindication. Skeptics screamed manipulation. "The drive is real!" flooded social media timelines within hours. Memes and short videos showed animated hard drives labeled Protocol 7, DriveGate, and the secret file. The frenzy became so uncontrollable that the journalist herself later clarified she couldn't confirm the memo's authenticity. But it didn't matter. People had already decided it was true. In online forums, users began speculating what was on the mysterious device. Some said encrypted donor data. Others whispered about sensitive recordings. Imagination filled every blank space truth left behind. Talk shows turned the drama into performance. Guests shouted over each other, waving printed screenshots as if they were legal documents. "They took something they didn't want us to see," one guest yelled. Another replied, "Or they protected something we'll never understand." Audiences clapped, commentators smiled, and the lines between mourning and entertainment dissolved. Emotions ran high as even Kirk's closest friends became characters in the national soap opera. One insider, who had remained silent until then, appeared on a podcast, visibly shaken, saying, "Charlie used to say technology would destroy truth. He was right." That soundbite went viral instantly, becoming a rallying cry for both sides. People posted it with captions like, "Prophecy fulfilled," and they silenced him because he knew too much. Grief had become mythology. Meanwhile, Another twist emerged when drone footage analysts discovered faint audio beneath the chaos of the crowd. It wasn't clear, just a series of distorted beeps and static bursts. But one tech channel claimed it matched encrypted communication tones used by private contractors. Within hours, the claim was repeated so many times that it transformed into fact. Hosts dramatically replayed the sound at high volume, insisting it was proof of hidden coordination. The local police department issued a calm statement saying the sounds were likely feedback from nearby broadcast equipment. But that explanation only fueled the outrage. Of course they'd say that, a popular influencer mocked on stream. That's what they always say when they're hiding something. That's what they always say when they're hiding something. Inside Kirk's family circle, chaos and heartbreak deepened. Close friends tried to shield his parents from the growing madness online. But isolation only made the whispers louder. Someone from within the organization leaked an emotional voicemail from Kirk's mother, where she said, "Please, just let my son rest." That private plea was turned into content, uploaded, captioned, and dissected, as if it were evidence. People argued over her tone, claiming she sounded too composed. Others posted teary reactions, claiming they felt her pain. Empathy had twisted into entertainment, and compassion had become currency. In the background, investigators quietly continued their work, but the public wasn't listening anymore. Facts had lost their weight. The real story now lived in speculation, and speculation paid better than truth. Documentary makers rushed to produce exposés, and new creators built entire channels around dissecting the cleaners. Some claim to have identified one of them, even doxing an innocent man who happened to look similar. His family received threats until authorities stepped in. By the time the mistake was corrected, the damage was irreversible. The apology video barely reached a fraction of the original audience. In another corner of the chaos, an anonymous hacker group released what they said was audio from the recovered drive. The clip was only 6 seconds long and mostly static, but faint voices could be heard. One male, one female, both indistinct. "They're in position," a voice seemed to whisper, followed by a single sharp pop. Whether real or fabricated, the recording broke the internet. Podcasts released emergency episodes, live reaction streams exploded, and even major outlets couldn't resist covering it with careful phrasing. Purported, alleged, reportedly. The illusion of neutrality didn't matter anymore. Just mentioning it was enough to fan the flames. People argued over whether the audio was doctored, replaying it in slow motion like detectives chasing ghosts. Every echo became a revelation. As public pressure mounted, the Department of Justice finally broke its silence, announcing that it would review all available footage. But by then, no one believed official statements. Hashtags mocking the investigation trended instantly, with users calling it the illusion of oversight. When a preliminary report concluded that there was no verified evidence of tampering or misconduct, outrage erupted. The phrase "no verified evidence" became a joke online, symbolizing every truth people felt was being buried. Protest groups formed outside government buildings holding signs reading, "We saw the video." Even those who had no interest in politics joined, drawn by the drama of it all. It wasn't about ideology anymore. It was about disbelief itself. Within Kirk's movement, division turned into collapse. Some leaders wanted to fight back publicly, releasing statements denying all conspiracy claims, while others urged silence. Heated meetings leaked online, full of shouting and accusations. "You care more about optics than legacy," one voice shouted. "And you care more about martyrdom than truth," another replied. The rift tore through what had once been a united front. Fans took sides, choosing which faction they believed represented the real Kirk. Even his memorial event became controversial. Half the crowd came to mourn. The other half came to live stream. And then, one final spark lit the next inferno. A local news affiliate aired new surveillance stills from a nearby parking lot, showing the same two security men loading sealed bags into a van minutes after the incident. The caption read, "Exclusive unseen footage." The bags were labeled with faint letters, hard to read, but online detectives enhanced the image until the letters seemed to spell FP9. No one knew what it meant, but that didn't stop anyone from guessing. Theories poured in. Some claimed it was a secret code for federal property. Others said it meant field protocol. The most viral explanation came from a late-night streamer who called it proof of Operation Clean Sweep, a phrase that immediately took over the internet. Suddenly, everyone was saying it, repeating it like gospel. Operation Clean Sweep was on mugs, shirts, and trending charts. Nobody knew where it started, but everyone knew what it implied, that something bigger was hiding behind the curtain. And as those words spread, the footage that began it all, the balcony clip, the grainy recording, the simple moment of two men moving through chaos, became more than evidence. It became mythology. People no longer watched it to understand. They watched it to believe, and belief, once ignited, is almost impossible to put out. Weeks turned into months, but the chaos refused to die. The new footage had rewritten every narrative, and now even silence was treated like confession. Major outlets cycled through endless, special reports, each promising to reveal what really happened at the plaza, each ending with the same words, "Questions remain." It wasn't reporting anymore. It was ritual. The same frames, the same theories, and the same voices replayed every night, keeping the story alive like a campfire no one dared to extinguish. And somewhere in that noise, the two men at the center of it all vanished. No press conferences, no interviews, not even an official acknowledgement of their identities. They were ghosts, and the mystery of their disappearance became the story's final obsession. Online, creators built entire personas around investigating the cleaners. One streamer, known only as Vega, claimed to have traced one of them to a surveillance training facility in Arlington. Her videos mixed real documents with theatrical narration, ending each episode with, "You know what they cleaned, but not what they found." She gained millions of followers overnight. Soon, podcasts debated whether she was an informant or an actress, and when she abruptly deleted her channel, that too became a clue. Theories multiplied faster than truth could travel. Every deletion, every denial, every new fact-check only convinced people further that something monumental was being hidden. The Kirk family, worn down by endless scrutiny, attempted one last press appearance. They stood on a small stage surrounded by reporters, pale and exhausted. Kirk's father, voice cracking, pleaded for dignity. "Please," he said softly, "this isn't a story, it's our son's life." But to millions watching online, even his grief looked rehearsed. Reaction videos accused him of reading from a script. One headline cruelly asked, "Is the Kirk family hiding the drive?" Empathy had become extinct. In its place stood entertainment. People weren't searching for closure anymore. They were addicted to the chase. The tragedy had become their favorite show. Then came the congressional hearing, televised live and marketed like an event. The committee played clips of the footage on giant screens, pausing at every angle. Lawmakers argued like actors performing outrage for the cameras. One side demanded accountability for private contractors operating in national events, while the other warned of political theater exploiting a family's pain. In the middle of the noise, a single expert witness, a digital forensics archivist, quietly dropped a revelation. She had recovered a microfragment of audio from Kirk's transmitter, preserved in an automatic cloud backup. When asked what it contained, she replied simply, "Voices." Gasps filled the chamber. The clip played, distorted, eerie, faintly human. Through static came a whisper, "Line secure. Hold until command." The room froze. The broadcast cut to commercial before she could say more. The next morning, the internet exploded again. People dissected every millisecond of the sound, creating slow-motion breakdowns and pitch-adjusted versions. Some insisted they heard more words. "They're in position. Protocol 7. Package compromised." None of it was clear, but clarity was never the point. Every replay birthed new meaning. Soon, influencers were selling T-shirts printed with Protocol 7 in red font, claiming it symbolized the fight for truth. Online forums flooded with threads about secret military codes and missing witnesses. Every debunk added fuel. Every government denial became another chapter in the grand narrative. The truth, somewhere along the way, had become irrelevant. In the midst of the hysteria, an anonymous envelope arrived at an independent newsroom in Denver. Inside was a USB drive labeled Plaza 03. On it, a third camera angle. Journalists viewed it in silence. The video showed the two men returning briefly to the plaza after police arrived. One carried a sealed biohazard bag, the other a metallic shard stained with blood. They placed the items on a table beside a woman in medical gloves, then left again through a side gate. The woman glanced up once, her face partially visible, and mouthed the words, "We got it." When the newsroom tried to verify the footage, they found no record of the woman, no trace of the bag, no confirmation of authenticity. Still, the video leaked within hours, and just like before, it went viral. People screamed that this was the missing puzzle piece. Others said it was deepfake fabrication, but no one turned away. Every second of that clip played on an endless loop in cafes, classrooms, and phones glowing in the dark. No one trusted it, yet no one could stop watching. Trusted it, yet no one could stop. By the time the official Department of Justice report arrived, it was already too late. The findings were dull, bureaucratic, and impossible to sell to an audience hooked on adrenaline. The report stated that the security contractors acted under emergency protocol to secure proprietary media equipment belonging to Kirk's organization. There was no evidence of federal involvement, no proof of tampering, no conspiracy. The supposed drive contained encrypted donor databases, not classified material. The mysterious phrase Protocol 7, they explained, referred to internal data protection policy, not espionage. The conclusion was plain, almost anticlimactic, but the internet refused to accept it. Disbelief had become a lifestyle. Late one night, as networks replayed the same clips for the 1,000th time, a weary commentator said quietly, "Maybe we'll never know what really happened." That line resonated more than any revelation. People quoted it like scripture, using it to justify their doubts, their anger, their endless scrolling. The footage had long stopped being about Charlie Kirk. It had become a mirror reflecting everyone's fear of being lied to. The tragedy wasn't just one man's death. It was the collapse of faith in truth itself. In a dim room somewhere, the original witness who filmed the balcony video sits alone, scrolling through the chaos he accidentally unleashed. His voice, barely above a whisper, breaks the silence. "I just wanted people to see," he says. "Now I wish they hadn't." Outside, protests still rage. Screens still glow. Hashtags still trend. And somewhere in the endless stream of uploads, one shaky video keeps replaying. The moment the cleaners step into frame, indifferent, methodical, eternal, every viewer sees something different. Justice, betrayal, control, or chaos. But all agree on one thing. That footage, real or not, changed everything. And that's where everything stands for now. Some say it's closure, others say it's just the beginning. The footage that started as a 30-second clip has turned into a mystery that refuses to die. A digital ghost haunting every screen it touches. Whether you believe the cleaners were heroes, conspirators, or just people caught in the wrong moment, one thing is certain. This story has forced everyone to question what's real, what's staged, and what's been edited beyond recognition. Every frame means something different depending on who's watching. And maybe that's the scariest part of all. As the debate rages on, more voices are joining in, some demanding justice, others calling for peace, and millions just watching, waiting for the next revelation. Maybe the truth will come out tomorrow, maybe it never will. But until then, the internet has already chosen its sides, and the world keeps replaying the same haunting question. What were they really cleaning? If you've made it this far, you know how deep this rabbit hole goes. What do you think really happened at the plaza that day? Were the cleaners protecting evidence or hiding it? Tell us your thoughts below, because we're reading every single comment. Don't forget to like this video if you want more breakdowns of the stories the mainstream won't touch. Hit subscribe to join our community of truth seekers. And turn on notifications so you never miss the next drop. Stay curious, stay sharp, and remember, sometimes the scariest secrets are the ones caught on camera.